Shep. There we go. All right. Hello, YouTube. While I shrink you. There we go. Hello, YouTubers. All right. This is good. All right. TikTok. Well, TikTok always takes a second longer, but we'll survive. Takes a little longer. Actually, turn off my, there we go, sound on my computer. TikTok takes a little more setting up than the rest. Actually, YouTube, I'm doing it at well, okay. See, now you're going to learn like why I always do this. Why I'm always doing this last minute. Because YouTube lets you set up the show at any time. I can set it up 2 minutes before, whatever. TikTok, you've got to set up the show 2 hours before or they won't let you. So that like, I always forget to do it 2 hours before. And then during that 2 hours, I can't set the show up. So I've got to like do it live, which is so annoying. It's so TikTok. Hold on. But anyway, it's just annoying. So that's why whenever we come on, I'm always sitting here kind of doing, I'm sort of doing this last second. Let me just sit here. But anyway, we don't have a ton of news today. There's news though. I mean, there's kind of big news because they passed, or they're beginning to pass Trump's big, nasty taxing. Well, I don't even know what you want to call it. Budget busting bill. But hang on a sec. Castle fantasy. Wow. Since we're doing more Ukraine news, let's do the sunflower. We haven't done the sunflowers a little, could have used them a while ago when we were doing Ukraine at the beginning, but that's okay. All right, I'm going live. 1 moment. TikTok, excellent. Flip the screen. Excellent. Swipe. All right. We are all one. We are all one now. My hand's hurting again, actually. They're making me do these exercises that clearly hurt my hand, which I'm not thrilled. I called the office yesterday. It was like, well, maybe you're doing too. I was like, yeah, you think so? So the hand's hurting again a little, which maybe I'm going to give it I don't know. I don't want to not do exercises, but like it's starting to hurt the wound again, which I'm not, the mic, which I'm not happy about. So, Oop. And I probably need to ice it again. I've got to remember when I finish the show to ice my hand again and wrap it again and hold it up again. And the live yesterday was here. Where were you, Bill? The live was here. We were live for an hour and 15 minutes last night. I don't know where you went, but it wasn't here. Hello, TikTok. All right. So we're all here today. YouTube, TikTok, Discord. Oh, thank you for the mummy. Thank you for the Pharaoh Kitty. Hey, some sunflowers. Who's the sunflower? Succeed. Thank you. Oh, these are pretty. I don't know that we haven't got too many of the sunflowers before. Notice is a whole other question. Yes, I am not in control of the notice. That's a fair point. I didn't know YouTube didn't give notice occasionally. TikTok is sort of famous for not giving notice. Thank you, Laddie. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Dario. Thank you, Shane. TikTok's sort of famous for not letting you know, Fry from Haiti. Oh, hello, Haiti. Haiti. Anyway, my hand is hurting again. I'm not happy about this. Like I said, I'm going to have to raise it again. I mean, I've been kind of raising it, but not enough, clearly. Like I said, all those exercises they're having me do are actually hurting the wound, which I'm not thrilled about. Ça va assez bien, mais j'ai mal à la main. Donc, je suis pas trop heureux au moment, en ce moment. But that's life. So, all right. Getting my air going a little bit. Anyway, melanoma. Oh, melanoma. I'm sorry. That's the mean nickname from Melania. I was like, deport melanoma. What does that mean? He's being mean. You're being mean to Melania. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Boozy. Thank you, Karis. So welcome, guys. John Aravosis here. We are going to be talking about the latest news in the U.S. Also, Ukraine. There's some Ukraine news. We almost had a big Ukraine story. Kind of interesting. We almost had big Ukraine news, kind of. Things are getting very suspicious as far as Ukraine and the Kerch Bridge, which is that bridge in southern Ukraine that the Russians built to sort of cement their hold that they stole the land in Ukraine. And the Ukrainians have been doing a lot of attacks. It's just anecdotal, but we had the attack in the S-400, which was the huge system put there to protect the bridge. Then I saw, like last night maybe, another tweet this morning of the Ukrainians hitting some other defense things in the area of the bridge. It's just interesting. And there's a rumor about the Ukrainians attacking the bridge. Again, let's see what happens. My spider sense is telling me the Ukrainians might be getting ready to go after the bridge again. But let's see. Let's see. They might be getting ready to go after the bridge again. Anyway, thank you, real life. So the big news today is Trump's big budget-busting budget bill, tax bill, passed the Senate. It's still kind of confusing what happens next. I worked in the Senate, so I do understand some of this stuff, but it's still confusing even for me, to be honest. This is Trump's, the bill that continues Trump's tax cuts. It also cuts massive amounts of money from Medicaid, cuts massive amounts of money from food stamps. They're called SNAP now, but it's basically food stamps, government assistance for poor people for food. It puts a ton of money into defense, a ton of money into the border. And it passed the House a few days ago. It passed the Senate, or maybe a couple of weeks ago. It passed the Senate this morning. What happens now is, because the House and Senate legislation are different, each one is, right? The House did its own, the Senate did its own. They cut different amounts of different things. They have to get together and reconcile the two bills. They've got to make the same bill, basically. Typically, you get together and you negotiate. And you get the House and the Senate leaders, they pick 8 people each or whatever. And I mean, I've been at these meetings. You literally get in a room and you negotiate. And then the final bill you agree to. So you would go, House and Senate people get together. They negotiate one common bill. That common bill then goes back to the House for one more vote, to the Senate for one more vote, and then that's it. Or you could just pass the bill, meaning the House, instead of negotiating with the Senate to make a common bill, because you got the House bill and the Senate bill, they're different, right? Instead of negotiating to make one common bill, the House can just pass the Senate bill and it's done. And then it goes to Trump for his signature. The House is trying to figure out what to do right now. A lot of the House members are not thrilled. I'm trying to think, what was it exactly? Well, they're not thrilled about the deficit, that's for sure. Trump, somebody just mentioned on TikTok, I forgot to mention a very small point here. Trump's bill is adding $4 trillion to the national debt. $4 trillion. Trump is trying to lie about it. He got called out by the Congressional Budget Office. The Congressional Budget Office is the congressional office that does the analysis of legislation. They're the independent, and they're totally independent. They work for Democrats and Republicans both. They don't, in other words, they don't work for anybody, but they work for everybody. They're not partisan at all. And they said it's going to add, it's going to cut 11.8 million people's health insurance, going to add, was it 3.3 trillion, I think? 3.3 trillion to the national debt. A lot of House Republicans are not thrilled about that because they don't like the idea of adding to the debt. Well, this is what they do. Republican tax cuts cost the country a lot of money. They have since Reagan. Now, I will say, I was looking at this, and it is true taxes would have gone up or will go up if they don't do this. Trump had some big tax cuts last time around when he was president. They expire this year. If the tax cuts aren't continued, your taxes will go up. On average, taxes will go up around 7.5%. The New York Times claimed that was small, and I was like, I don't know that that's small. 7.5% is not nothing. You're right. I mean, if your taxes are $5,000, would that be $500? Maybe a little bit less, or maybe a little more, $700. I mean, it's not nothing, right? Or $500. But I hate doing math when I'm like, on live with you guys, but you get the idea. But so taxes would have gone up. The problem is this tax cut is, of course, because they always do this, it's massively skewed towards rich people. Thank you, Flower Lady. Thank you, Melon. And thank you, Peggy. It's massively massively skewed towards rich people. They don't just get the lion's share, but people that don't make as much money actually lose money. Obamacare, we talked about this. They've got subsidies in for Obamacare that they're letting expire. Not all the subsidies, but a portion of the subsidies. It could cost, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know. It could cost me $2,000. It could cost me $4,000 maybe this year by letting this stuff expire. It's not a small deal, what they're doing. And, I'm not rich. I mean, I have a nice apartment and stuff, but I don't make a ton of money. That has a big impact. I don't like $2,000 to $4,000 is a lot of money. Well, if you're rich, you're saving a ton of money. If you're poor, you're going to lose some money on this deal. So that's why a lot of other people don't like it. Also, it cuts like $1 trillion from Medicaid and related programs. That's our healthcare program in America for poor people. Some seniors use it to just people with disabilities. $1 trillion, really? because they want tax cuts for the rich, because they want more defense spending, because Trump wants to put more money at the border. It's just, yeah, it's not great. I'm trying to think here. They're claiming that there's a Social Security. Actually, this one worries me a little. They're claiming that actually this one's this one's a little different. They're claiming that they're exempting Social Security payments from taxes. They're not. They are giving you a $6,000 deduction of Social Security. So if you're a senior up until a certain income, you can deduct $6,000. Now, what that means though is you're not taxed on the $6,000, so you're not saving $6,000. If your taxes are 25%, you're saving, what would that be? $1,500, which is not a small amount of money, but it's something. It's something. But actually, your taxes probably aren't 25%. Your taxes are going to be 15%, so you're probably saving more like $900. But again, that's not nothing. In any case, so that's what we're kind of waiting. We're kind of waiting to see what happens with the House and whether the House decides to pass the Senate bill or whether the House decides to, the House could pass a totally different bill if they want, and then it just keeps the process bouncing back and forth, or they could get together with the Senate and negotiate. Who knows? Trump and Elon this was actually kind of delicious. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are fighting again. They're fighting. Oh, could Democrats reverse the bill later? I mean, sure. The problem is, and the Republicans know this, it's easy to cut taxes, even though it caused massive deficits and massive debt. So much of our debt has been caused by Republican tax cuts in this country. How do you turn that around? You're going to increase taxes, right? When Republicans won't do it. So Republicans cut taxes and everyone goes, yay. Democrats are going to increase taxes on people, right? Really? Right? I mean, politically, it's suicide, even though what the Republicans are doing is irresponsible. So they can, good luck, right? They can put more money back into Medicaid and everything else. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Social Security or the disability benefits. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. But they're cutting money from everything. They don't care. I mean, they just don't care. So Elon and Trump are fighting. That's the only sort of bit of good news today. Elon and Trump are having a big fight today, actually, which is very good. So Elon, I mentioned this last night, that Elon came out and opposed this bill, Trump's bill. He claimed, actually, I think I pulled the quote up. He claimed it was going to unemploy millions. Let me find this. It will destroy, Elon said, the bill will destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country. Elon is also now threatening to form a new political party because he's so upset about this bill and at Donald Trump. Trump turned around and threatened to cut all of Elon's federal subsidies. Elon gets a ton. Elon's gotten like $25 billion, I think, from the federal, from federal grants and loans and just sort of federal subsidies over the last 20 years or so, 25, actually 10 years, I think. It's a smaller period of time, $25 billion. Trump came out and threatened to take all the money away. Did I pull Trump's quote? God, I hope I did. Let me see here. Hold on. I meant to grab Trump's quote. I hope I did. Yes. Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history by far. Without subsidy. Oh, hold on. Yes, I do have although my Trump hair needs to be, it needs to be brushed a little bit. It's getting a little, I still feel like I look like, what's her face who went to jail for making all the cakes and stuff when she didn't pay her taxes. Martha Stewart. Trump said, Elon may be getting more subsidy than any human being in history by far. Without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back to South Africa. No more rocket launches, no more satellites, no more electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Then Trump threatened to sick Doge, his little cost-cutting children, on Elon, calling it the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Oh, that's really funny. Thank you, Kim. That's hilarious. Somebody sent a gift on TikTok and it incorporated the gift in my Trump hair, which was kind of really very cool. Thank you for that. So Trump is now threatening to use Doge, which, by the way, totally illegal, totally authoritarian, totally dictator-like. Trump is openly threatening to use the federal government to destroy a political opponent. I mean, and now, mind you, this isn't the first time, right? Thank you, Rock Hunter. but it is kind of, I mean, even Elon, it's a bit obnoxious. So today the White House people were asked about it, and Elon is like, take my money, I don't care. So today the White House people were asked about it, and this was my favorite quote from them, from the White House, somebody in the White House, a White House official. Quote, no one really cares what Elon says anymore. Which I thought was pretty freaking cool. So they're pissed at Elon. They don't like Elon anymore. Elon and Trump are fighting. Elon is talking about creating a third political party, which is kind of cool. And of course, his idea of a third political party would be something taking down the Republicans, of course, because currently Elon represents Republicans. Elon doesn't represent Democrats. So that would hurt Republicans. Elon also is threatening to to primary any Republican who votes for Trump's bill. When I say primary, I mean that Elon would throw money at the political opponents of the people who vote for the bill, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, I know it is Boris Johnson here, totally, Manana. So pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad. Elon, I said in my TikTok video earlier on this, Elon, of course, has a selfish interest here. Elon is upset because Trump is cutting all of these subsidies and programs for electric vehicles and batteries and solar power and everything else. Well, what did Elon think Trump was going to do? Republicans have been saying from the beginning, they're going to cut alternative energy, right? Trump's been saying from the beginning, he hates electric cars. Remember how Trump's the one who's been claiming for years falsely that wind power causes cancer. I mean, how does a windmill cause cancer? It's not quite clear, right? But that's what Trump claims. So Elon knew exactly, Elon thought he was going to help Elon. Elon, I think, thought he was going to get lots of help from Tesla, even more government money, maybe his SpaceX or whatever it was. But somehow, saddling up to Trump, Elon thought he was going to make a killing financially, I think. And guess what? What happened to Elon is what happens to everybody eventually who saddles up to Trump. They fly too close to the sun. They're Icarus and Daedalus. They fly too close to the sun and they burn. Yeah, okay. Lost his wings. Same idea. It's a thing is, especially like on alternative energy, that's like what is it? It's not the horse you die on. What's the expression? Is it the horse you die on? But that's the issue you're going to stake your thing on and say, I'm upset at Trump because he's trying to cut alternative energy. Dude, you didn't know Trump was going to cut alternative energy sources? The hill, thank you, the hill you die, the horse you die on, the hill you die on is alternative energy, when we all knew Trump was going to cut. This is not new. Like, none of this is new, right? And Elon is suddenly acting like, oh my God, he's cutting alternative energy. Yeah, he is. That's who these people have been for decades. And you decided to saddle up to them and embrace them. So thanks, Elon. Oh, well. No, grab some popcorn, Federal judge today temporarily blocked the Trump administration from moving forward with a dramatic reorganization of the Department of Health and Human Services, finding that the mass firings and organizational changes were probably illegal. Let's hope that's true. I mean, it seems that a lot of this stuff goes to the appeals courts and then Trump wins. So let's see. But, Kirsty, no, this story, this is fascism. I mean, this is, again, illegal. It is the kind of thing dictators do. It's what they do in China. It's what they do in Russia. And it's now what Donald Trump does. It is incredibly dangerous. These people have to be held accountable when they leave office. We have got to find a legal way to hold them accountable. By the way, mods, remember I mentioned that those people should be muted. It's clearly a troll thing. It's a troll thing. It's got to be a troll thing. There's no other way it's anything else. But Kirsty Noem, Homeland Security Secretary, she's the one who is always doing the photo ops and putting her hair extensions and her fake eyelashes on for all these photo ops about kicking out the immigrants and stuff. And literally she's spending God knows how much taxpayer money on like I don't even know what to call it. Cosplaying. That's what it is. Exactly. Cosplay or cosplaying, costume, cosplay, like cosplaying. Exactly. Listen to this. This was from CNN, actually. Kirsty Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, said on Tuesday that she was working with the Department of Justice to see if the Trump administration can prosecute CNN for publishing an article about an app that allows users to send alerts about the presence of nearby immigration agents. Quote, we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them, Ms. Noem told reporters at an appearance with President Trump in Florida. CNN said the article was a straightforward report on the existence of the app called IceBlock. This is an app that is publicly available to any iPhone user who wants to download it, the network said. There is nothing illegal about reporting the existence of this or any other app, nor does such reporting constitute promotion or endorsement of the app by CNN. This is insane. It is literally just reporting the news. They're upset. Well, I guess I just mentioned it too. Are they coming after all of us now? I mean, this is fascism. It really is. I mean, and I don't even like to use the word because Americans like the word fascism in America. It's kind of always been used by the far left, and they use it for any Republican. So like, it's not a word that really works here. We haven't had fascism in recent memory until now in this country, so that it's kind of hard to even use because we're not used to it. That's why I compare it to communist China. That's why I compare it to, the Russia of today or the Soviet Union. You're going to prosecute CNN for reporting on the existence of an iPhone app. Really? But this is what they do. It's Russia 2.0. Well, Russia 3.0. Russia currently is Russia 2.0. This is Russia 3.0. No, it really is. I mean, and I just like it boggles the mind. I mean, as bad as Fox News is, nobody was talking about, we have Palestinians coming to harass us. Hi, bye. Don't come back now. As bad as Fox News is, no one talks about throwing them in jail. But the Trump people do. They think it's funny. They don't just think it's funny. They're talking about doing it. They want to throw people in jail from CNN for reporting the news because this is what you do in a dictatorship. This is what you do in fascism. And if you can, again, Trump has sued the media in order to scare them, but also in order to get bribes. And he has. He got $15 million from ABC. He's trying to get the money now from, was it Comcast or Comcast parent company? This is what he does. And the media and others turn around and basically bribe him by settling. It's just scary as hell. Anyway, Ukraine. So let's talk about this. There is some Ukraine news. The North Koreans, according to the Kyiv Independent, North Korea is already using Russia's Panzer S-1 air defense system in Pyongyang, according to Budanov, who's Ukraine's head of military intelligence. The arrival of the Panzer missiles is another sign that North Korea is improving its weapons technology and military might through cooperation with Russia. An official in Ukraine's domestic security service has confirmed to Reuters that Ukrainian drones successfully struck a military facility in the Russian city of Izhevsk. This might have been last night. The city is 800 miles, 1,300 kilometers from Ukraine's border, making it one of the deepest targets inside Russian territory struck by Ukraine. At least 2 long-range drones struck the plant this morning. The plant is used to make air defense systems and drones. Politico reports that the Pentagon has halted shipments of... Okay, this story is interesting. The Trump people, they're cutting more weapons to Ukraine, and they're trying to make it sound like it's Biden's fault. Now, Biden gets some of the blame, but considering who's involved, I'm going to read this to you in a second, this is not just Biden. Listen to this. The Pentagon has halted shipments of some air defense missiles and other precision munitions to Ukraine due to worries that U.S. weapons stockpiles have fallen too low. The decision was driven by the Pentagon's policy chief, Elbridge Colby. This guy is basically a MAGA activist, hates Ukraine. I mean, he's terrible on Ukraine. Really doesn't like China, but horrific on the Ukrainian stuff. He was a troll online, and he got appointed to a top defense position. His name popped up, and I immediately looked at it and went, sure, it was an objective decision that we just can't help Ukraine with these weapons that we're giving them anymore. Now, having said that, The article said the initial decision to withhold some aid promised during the Biden administration came in early June, but is only taking effect now as Ukraine is. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Biden. It wasn't Biden at all. I'm sorry. I thought the article was blaming it on Biden. The initial decision to withhold some aid promised by Biden came in June. This is not the problem here. Is this is not English? What Politico just wrote drives me a little crazy as a writer and a journalist. Some of the people get hired to write stuff. That's a throw me down the stairs, my shoes line. What the article meant to say was the initial decision they decided to withhold aid that Biden promised. The decision by Trump to withhold Biden's aid that he promised came in June, a month ago. That's what it's saying. I thought it said that the initial decision came from Biden. It didn't. So they're not trying to blame. They're just admitting outright they're cutting more aid to Ukraine. Surprise. The Kremlin has rebuffed a claim from Donald Trump's senior envoy to Ukraine that Russia is stalling for time over the peace talks. Of course they are. Keith Kellogg said yesterday that Russia cannot keep delaying peace talks while it bombs civilian targets in Ukraine. And finally, Sumy, somewhat concerning here. Wall Street Journal reports that Russian forces are just 12 miles from this northern Ukrainian regional capital of Sumy, a new target for Moscow, as the Kremlin presses its manpower advantage at a growing number of places along the front. Having almost entirely ejected Ukrainian forces from the Russian Kursk region earlier this year, Russian forces have now poured over the border in the opposite direction towards Sumy, with 50,000 troops in the area. They outnumber the Ukrainians 3-1. The main strategy, Ukraine's top general said, is to wear us down with their numbers. Very scary stuff. And yes, the Russians, basically, their strategy is just to keep going and just to keep wearing the Ukrainians down while Donald Trump walks away. And the Europeans are kind of stuck holding the bag, but the Europeans can only do so much. Thank you, Smurf, for the gift. All right, that is it for the news. As I said, not a ton of news today. Important news, though, with the budget passing at least this next stop or next step. So anyway, Europeans are trying to step up. Part of the problem, though, is that at least I know last year, Europe just could not meet America's defense production, so that they couldn't. They stepped in, but they could only step in so much. P. Diddy, I don't care. Some 2 out of 3 decisions were reached in the P. Diddy trial. I don't know what he's being prosecuted for. I don't particularly care because I don't really know who he is. I've heard of his name. He might be a rapper. I don't know. I just don't care. I mean, I'm sure somebody does, but yeah. So, oh man. Anyway, yeah, we haven't heard anything about Alcatraz. I think Trump's going to want to do it. The thing is, Trump's Alcatraz thing is, Trump talked about building Alcatraz as a prison again. Trump is very good at performative art, and that's part of what it is to be a con man. And it worries me because I do think Republicans do this overall. Well, Democrats too, in their own way. I mean, Democrats don't do performative, but Democrats, they care a lot about poor people. I'm not sure who else they care about. I'm exaggerating a little, but there's a little bit of a sort of a Democrats kind of focusing on poor and some minorities and then nobody else. Republicans, I don't know other than rich, it's confusing, right? I'm trying to think what you just said that got me thinking about this in terms of the Republicans and Trump. Oh, Alcatraz. There's this performative side on the Republicans that I've never really understood. And it worries me, though, because Democrats also, I think Democrats don't have this sort of vision long term. I don't sense it from them, at least. Like, where do you want the country to be in 20 years, 40 years? And I don't just mean on civil rights. I mean, we should be a stronger country. We should be economically more powerful, make sure our military is still strong, this kind of stuff, right? Leading us into the next millennia or whatever the hell, or the next century at least. But on Republicans, I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like Donald Trump, especially, so many of his proposals are just anger. I mean, the trade stuff, okay, I guess on the trade stuff, well, here's the problem with Trump. On the trade stuff, is he really going to be doing, is he really getting better deals? Really? This is Donald Trump we're talking. Donald Trump would, pick up a potato and tell you it's an apple, and everybody would go, yay. I mean, he lies a lot. I don't believe him when he says like these are better trade deals, right? Trump would just do it. I mean, Trump would just make like the same deal or a worse deal and claim it was better and move on because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the substance. He cares about, again, he's a carnival barkster. He cares about the label. He cares about the wrapping, right? Right? He's going to build a wall. He didn't build a wall. He built 53 miles of wall. He was supposed to build 2,000 miles. He built 53. No one cared. He moved on. And then he moved on to his next fake promise. So like not everything's fake. I mean, he is cracking down on the immigration. I mean, it certainly is kind of scary, but he is cracking down on the immigration stuff. And if anything, that's almost I mean, it depends actually. The immigration stuff is a real promise. This tax cut stuff he promised and he's doing, except he's breaking the budget. Again, long-term health of America's economy, bad, right? What he's doing. Anyway, like I said, it worries me because I just feel like I don't see where the country is going in the long term, and it scares me, And I think places like China know what they're doing, Anyway, or a thunder starting again. We have storms coming all night. Dog was not happy. She's doing a little better now. Not happy earlier. I don't think AOC is going to be president anytime soon. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a very politically savvy, well-spoken Democrat. She's a socialist. That makes her very popular on the left of the left. Oh, my dog's going to hear that one. Oh, I just hope her hearing is not great, but I'm a little afraid she's going to hear that one. You guys could probably hear that one. Could you hear that one? That sounded like it was nearby. I was like, okay, that was a little scary. It sounded like it was not far away. That was the creepy part. Wow. I didn't see it. Could you actually see it? Oh, could you actually see? Oh, you could actually see it. Okay. I didn't catch the light. I just heard it sounded way too close. That's wild. Thank you, life. Yeah, I mean, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, very smart, very politically savvy, very well spoken. Excuse me. She's great at messaging. She's a socialist. I think for a lot of us, she's too far left. Maybe for a lot of you, she's not, but for a lot of Americans, she is. The right will go crazy. I think voters in the middle are not going to like it. The question, but the question becomes, Bernie never got the chance to be the candidate for president. Hey, Vasilion, never got the chance to be candidate for president, right? Bernie lost the primary. Had Bernie been the candidate, I always wonder whether he would he have gone down in flames? Bernie Sanders, again, another socialist, Democrat. He's a socialist. He was a Marxist at one point. I mean, he's like really socialist. But Bernie, I wonder whether he could have won. And I really say this 50-50 though, because there were a lot of Republicans who liked it. Oh no, he's too old now. I'm talking 2016. There were a lot of Republicans who liked Bernie Sanders. I mean, he's kind of an ass. He's a curmudgeon. He's a Bernie. But very honest, right? You don't get the sense of Bernie being very political. Very honest. Has his views. They seem legit. I mean, they're too far to the left of me, but they seem legit. And a lot of people in the middle kind of liked him, even though he's a socialist. And I wonder with somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez this is the test. Sorry, nose is itching again. This is the test. Would she be able to convince, would her speaking skills and her intelligence and her marketing skills, all of which are excellent. She's very smart. She's very interesting. She talks about Bill Clinton in many ways, actually. When she talks about topics, you can tell she knows what she's talking about. You're not getting bullshit. You may not agree with her. I don't agree with her on a lot of stuff, to be honest. Like I said, she's way to the left of me. But she's really smart, and she's very earnest. I think she's sincere, right? I don't think she's right. I just don't agree with her, right? But that's different than, and I think there's a chance that a lot of voters in the middle might end up liking her because maybe they'll look past the politics. At the same time, this is America, and being a socialist, good luck. That doesn't fly in this country. It may fly with young people today. Some of you it flies with. Overall in this country, it doesn't. You all know. If you're not from here, it's hard to explain. It doesn't fly here. But maybe it will in a couple generations. Maybe it will in 10, 20 years. Who knows, right? I mean, things change. But she certainly has the political skill and the speaking skills. Excuse me. The speaking skills. So, anyway. Manana says, I doubt the Democrats will run a woman, let alone a woman of color, as president. Well, she's Latino too, as president for all. I mean, it's not like you have a choice. It's a free country. You know what I mean? Like, she runs. If she wins, she wins. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pete Buttigieg. I mean, Pete Buttigieg is great. He's got the issue. He's a gay man. You're going to see the same opposition in a different way against him being a gay man. Now, he as well, I think, different than her. What I mean is, in terms of the opposition, obviously different, because they're going to go after her on the socialist thing. They're going to go after her on the woman thing. They might even go after her on the Latino thing. On Pete, he's very mainstream, but he's gay, which they don't like. But he's incredibly well. I mean, he's not just incredibly well spoken. Pete Buttigieg really wins over the Republicans. He goes on Fox News all the time. They love him. Very sincere, very middle of the road. I mean, he's not even middle of the road. I think he's a good Democrat, but he still messages very middle of the road that Democrats and Republicans are like, yeah, I like him. Veteran. Yep. Veteran. No. So maybe he again, gay. I mean, that's going to be an issue, but he's very good. Somebody a while ago, I remember not that long ago, said to me, they could see basically Buttigieg could never win the Democratic primary, but if he did, he might win the election, which I thought was interesting. Sort of an interesting observation, Anyway, but I don't want to go through sort of everybody. I don't want to go through all the different names, but my hand really is hurting. Like I said, I did too much. Maybe also cooking today. I probably did a little bit too much. I need to ice it. Anyway, I'm gonna hold it up now, so at least it's above my heart, so it feels a little better. I don't want to go through all the names of everybody though. What else? Well, the House passed this bill. In the end, I think they're going to pass Trump's bill. They're going to pass it. They will. I mean, they'll pass something. It'll be bad enough because Trump gets what Trump wants. So let's see. House Republicans are kind of notorious. I will say, sort of, the House Republicans can be notorious for being sticklers. Senate Republicans, some of them can kind of roll over, but in the House, they roll over less, but they still may roll over. So I think Trump gets his bill. Let's see. It may change a little bit. It may not, but he gets his bill in the end, I think. Yeah. I think it does. When does it go into effect? I'm assuming immediately. Well, it depends. The tax cuts were expiring at the end of the year. The question becomes, do these add on to it? I don't know. That's a good question. January 2026? Well, I was wondering whether it's the fiscal year, for example, like October 1st, or it's January. It's January. Okay. A lot of folks are saying January of next year. So, anyway, well, yeah. I mean, I understand what Eni is getting. Sorry, Eni mentioned sort of one of the candidates being Jewish. I think what he meant, you didn't say it right, by the way. The way you said it sounded weird. What he means is a Jewish candidate I think a Jewish candidate, Democratic candidate, is going to have problems with the left wing of the party. Not a good thing to have to admit, but I think it's true. I think the left wing of the party is going to be, they already started going nuts when we were considering a Jewish vice president. So they're going to go nuts in a bad way. But again, a gay candidate, we've got the problem. And actually, Pete Buttigieg is also good. The left wing of the party is going to hate him too. Honestly, the left wing of the Democratic Party is going to hate anybody who isn't a woman of color. Women in general, maybe. Woman of color, yes. Anybody else, forget it. I mean, which is the other problem the Democratic Party has. You know, so who knows? I don't think the left hates so much. The left doesn't hate so much. I mean, I think the right hates more, but the left wing of the party, I think, has gotten a little full of itself personally. Not all of you. I'm not saying all of you, but there is, I just think they're too extreme. I mean, extremes tend to be extreme anyway. I think they're too extreme. I think there is a dogma. It's critical theory is part of, I mean, this gets into all sorts of stuff because I've seen it in the gay rights movement, the LGBT movement. I've seen it in other movements. There is this purity thing that exists on the far left of the party, and everyone's evil except them, and everything is obvious except the way they think. And honestly, we even had this on healthcare. They were hating Obama for trying to compromise on some of the stuff. And it was like, you know what? Can we just get something better? I mean, I'd like better, but still, if you don't get something perfect, you're evil and this kind of crazy stuff, you know? But the right wing obviously is got its way worse problems. You know, it's not just the fringe of the Republican Party that's got issues. On the Democratic Party, it's more, not the fringe, but it's the left of the Democratic Party. I just think it's got some issues, I think there's a little, and I think that's the problem Harvard and those guys are having now too, to be honest. They kind of embrace that stuff. Well, that's a perfect example. Foxy just wrote one of the classic left-wing kind of silly statements people say. They try to they basically, see, Foxy, you're going to get muted, first of all, because you're being rude. But second of all, it goes to sort of prove my point. Showing your privilege. They shut down everybody who disagrees with them. She just said, I'm showing my privilege because I'm disagreeing with her. She means I'm white and I'm a man. Of course, my being gay doesn't matter because people like that don't care anymore that you're gay. Somehow, and they don't care about Jews. Jews don't, I mean, there's a lot of different minorities. They don't care. They don't actually care about African-Americans either anymore, really, which is kind of scary. The left wing, actually, I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this. Unfortunately, this movement doesn't really care about civil rights. They don't. They care about immigration. They care about Black trans women. And that's about it. I mean, they care about some other issues, but civil rights don't matter to them beyond that. Nothing. And there tends to be an effort to shut down speech, which that woman just tried. If you disagree, they will throw things at you and say, it's your privilege. No, it's my opinion. And I'm allowed to have an opinion, even though I'm a white man. I'm a white man. I'm also a gay man and have been through probably more than you have in life as far as discrimination. So maybe we shouldn't be comparing our various oppression, because that's something else you see with that movement. There's this whole hierarchy of oppression thing, and everyone's trying to sort of show that they're more oppressed by somebody else. And it's like, just stop. It's very, but it's basically meant to shut people down. And I just think it's not healthy. Now, again, the right with MAGA has got way bigger problems, but this is still not a good movement on the left. It's not. I think it's very unhealthy. It's not very democratic, but, again, not the point too is like, it's not like everybody who's on the left of the Democratic Party is like this. It's the movement that's the problem. The leaders are the problem, generally speaking. The activists are definitely a problem. But you yourself could have views that are to the left of me. That's a different question, because not everybody who has views to the left of me buys into all this "you're privileged" kind of insult politics. That's its own unique class, but they tend to run the movement. That's the problem, and they get universities to do what they want. And that's why Harvard's, as we talked about before, Harvard's in trouble because of what Harvard did, but Harvard's also in trouble because then the Republicans won and Trump is going after him, so very bad. Anyway. Anyway. Thank you, Iris. That was a great comment. I like that. Despite not agreeing with everything you have. Oh, I thought you said despite not agreeing with anything, you have really good points. Because even that would have been okay. I was like, okay, I like that. You don't agree, but they're good points. That's, no, that's very funny. Um, that's funny. Anyway, um, anyway, Rob says, what type of Americans would support any political party created by Elon Musk, given his far right support in Europe and his salutes? Young white men. I mean, Elon's base would support his political party. I mean, that's who would support his political party. I think Elon's got a strong base. I think now his base is very Republican. As far he sort of lost I think he lost a lot of his sort of liberal support, or not even liberal, just anybody who's on the left side of the aisle kind of looked at Elon and went, "Ooh," right? But the question is, could he pull some young Republicans away from Trump and stuff? Maybe, and he's got a lot of money. I mean, he could. The thing is, Elon also could just spend a lot of money. He could spend a ton of money that they could use targeting everybody, not just Elon supporters, right? Money in American politics speaks. They use it to, I don't know, win Latino voters away from Republicans or pull women away. I mean, who knows, right? I hope he does, but he could cause a lot of damage. I think he's gonna. Well, Elon also seems to kind of do this hot and cold thing. He gets really pissed off and says crazy things and then cools down. So who knows? But this is but remember when the first time Elon and Trump buried the hatchet a couple weeks ago? And I know I must have told you that, because I never can tell like what I discussed with my nephew or Callum, like off when we're talking on our own and what I've talked with you guys about. But I remember thinking, at least last time when this happened, that Elon was that Elon had said too much and Trump had said too much. Elon, I can't even repeat some of the stuff Elon said because I think TikTok would get upset about it. But basically, Elon started talking about Trump being very close to that guy that went to prison and then died in prison because he was trafficking in young girls. That's sort of the best way of putting it. Okay. In a way that I don't want to get too much into this, obviously. And Elon suggested Trump was involved and it was all being covered up in a conspiracy. It might be, but you're working with Trump as one of his closest buddies or whatever, and you accuse him of that. If you accuse anybody of that, they're never going to forgive you. Right. And that's why, like, when Elon and Trump buried the hatchet, I said, this is convenient that I think they're both trying to recognize this is useful to them to bury the hatchet, but they hate each other now. Somebody says that about you, Trump hates Elon. I mean, Trump didn't like Elon. Clearly, you could tell that the first several months of the presidency. But now, because Trump was already upset because Elon kept talking about how, by the way, previously, but then when they had the fight a couple of weeks ago, Elon said, "You wouldn't even be president if it wasn't for me. I got you elected." Ho, 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 ho. Telling that to Donald Trump? Oh, right. So Trump hates Elon now. You don't come back from that. You can maybe convince Trump that you got to work with the guy, but he still hates him. And it comes out, and Elon, forget it. I mean, Elon, I wonder if Elon didn't think somehow he was going to win over Donald Trump, right? Because again, we knew Donald Trump was going to kill funding for all the alternative energy. Duh, right? He took away the subsidy for electric vehicles. Duh. He doesn't want to fund solar or wind or anything else. Duh. Right. Thank you, William, for the hat. Oh, I have not been pushing gifts tonight. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. I appreciate it. I sort of forgot to ask. We were on a roll. I forgot to ask for that. But I'm starting to wonder if maybe Elon just thought, I am Lord God Elon, richest man in the world, and I will convince Donald Trump to change his mind on alternative energy. And I guess because now that's why Elon's walking. And it's like, dude, your number one issue is alternative energy, and you saddled up to the party that's the party of big oil that hates alternative energy, and now thank you for the Elton John glasses and earrings. Was that Andy? No, that wasn't Andy. Thank you, Andy, for the balloon. That was does it even? I was going to call you Steven. Does it Steven matters? Which would be very funny actually if your name was Steven. Does it even matter? But I wonder if that's it. I wonder if it is that Elon thought he was going to the force of Elon's great money and will was going to change Trump's mind on this stuff. I mean, he almost got there a little bit because, right, he got Trump to buy the electric, which I'm sure he didn't, but to buy the Tesla and all this kind of BS, remember? But now they hate each other. Forget it now. So now the question just becomes to what degree Elon goes after Trump, which will be, and Republicans, which would be really good. I mean, Elon doesn't like Democrats either, and Democrats don't like him either. But thank you, Perry, for the community crown. Anyway, I don't know what Elon is. Jason says no one accuses Elon of being very smart. I still don't understand him. I was very impressed with him before I got to know him, meaning, I live on Twitter, followed a lot of the stuff Elon does on Twitter. He's a 12-year-old boy on Twitter. Very scary. I mean, like quite literally the stuff Elon posts, and I don't care what people say about him being autistic or whatever he is. I don't think that's an excuse. Thank you, Blaze. We're talking, thank you, Jean for the rose. I'm talking things like, I remember a year or two ago, Elon was posting boob jokes about women's breasts. And I was like, really? You're a grown man? Like, that's just gross. He has this personality of a 13-year-old. I just, there's something weird there. There's something very weird about him, obviously. But also I find him very transparent. I think you can always tell what Elon's up to. It's Elon. There isn't, I mean, I guess he's smart, like maybe. You can always tell what he's up to. It's not like, gosh, what's he doing? You can always tell when Elon's playing some game with something. You're like, okay, Elon really wants this, and he's playing blah blah blah. Also, like people talk about him creating fake Twitter accounts and stuff, but they're always obvious which ones they are. And he goes on fake Twitter accounts and praises himself, but again, you can always tell that it's Elon. It's I don't know. He is oversharing. Yes. He did take a drug test. He took a drug test recently, claimed he was clean. Like, I don't know. There may be a spark of genius to the man. It's possible, but I've often said about genius, I think to be a really effective genius, I think you need to be, well, maybe not effective, a healthy genius. You need to be like 49% genius 51% genius and 49% crazy. And I think a lot of people that are geniuses are not 49% crazy. They're 51% crazy or more, and that's a problem. That's a problem. And I wonder about Elon in that regard, whether there's just a little too much something going on there that isn't very good job. All right, good. One moment. I just wonder. I wonder. The word isn't, Alan. Many geniuses can be assholes and stuff too. But I think there's, and again, it's hard to say too. I mean, maybe the people that are 51% crazy, maybe they're even more effective in a way, in some ways, because like there's this crazy genius to them, but they're also crazy. So it then can undercut them as well. Anyway, I think you've got to be able to control the genius. You got to be, you got to be a genius to start with, but you got to be able to control it. And I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I think Elon, there might be something, and he may not be a genius anyway. Correct. I mean, people who know him better than who his history, talk about how he's bought a lot of companies. Like he didn't, like a lot of I don't know if he started any of them, but a lot of them he didn't. A lot of the big ones, like Tesla, he bought. I believe PayPal, he kind of bought himself into or whatever too, but he hasn't really created a lot of these. Don't think he's gay, Mark, unless you're saying you are. But nope. Oh, dog wants more water. One moment. All right. All right. Anyway. Oh my God. Anyway. Well, I mean, yeah, the two-party question in this country is its own thing. Yeah, well, good luck. Yeah, Ash, I think that one, yeah, that one gets blocked. Exactly. That was original, though. We had somebody claiming to be from Africa and looking for a woman to love them. It was like, Elon, is that you? Oh God, that was funny. I wasn't even going to comment. I was just waiting to see who would jump on it first. And Ashley and Poppy both jumped on it at the same time. That was funny. That was very funny. Oh, is that a recurring theme? um, anyway. Oh man. Oh, excuse me. I get that on TikTok. TikTok's got a lot of scammers, unfortunately. I get that on TikTok. I had a Jennifer. I love, and when you report them, TikTok, like a fake Jennifer Aniston reach out to me, and you report it to TikTok, and TikTok goes, "There's nothing wrong with this person's profile," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna guess that the chick with 40 followers is not the real Jennifer Aniston." Just call me crazy. I don't think so. I'm just looking here to see what else do we have going on. Wash post. Oh, thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Marsha, for the clap. The clap. That sounds bad. The encore clap. Anything else here? The Senate bill went a little farther than the House wanted. We're talking back to his budget bill. Whoa. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, sign in. I'm going to sign in. Another new Washington Post article that's even wilder. Sign in with Google. Hang on. Just logging into my Washington Post account. Where's my glasses? Here's my glasses. All right, 1 second here. At least 17 million Americans would lose insurance under the Trump plan. The Senate version of President Trump's massive tax and immigration spending plan would wipe out many of the strides made by the Affordable Care Act in reducing the number of uninsured Americans, resulting in at least 17 million Americans losing health coverage, according to nonpartisan estimates and experts. The bill, which narrowly passed the Senate on Tuesday, would effectively accomplish what Republicans have long failed to do: unwind many of the key components of the Affordable Care Act. Oh, God. To start, the Congressional Budget Office estimated that the Senate bill would result in 11.8 million more uninsured, mostly because of Medicaid. Both versions would allow pandemic-era enhanced subsidies for health insurance through ACA marketplaces to expire at the end of the year. That's what's going to affect me, sharply raising out-of-pocket costs for millions of Americans. CBO estimates that 4.2 million people would lose insurance as a result. Jesus. Wow. Yeah, they're going to massively increase my premiums at the end of the year. God. And I'm already paying, I'm paying basically you get a subsidy, $1,500 a month for my insurance premiums. And some of that you get a subsidy because of Obamacare. They're cutting the subsidy. They're not cutting 100%, but they're cutting a lot of the subsidies. Which God only, like I said, $2,000, $4,000 is going to cost me. I have no idea. It's going to be terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, this is what they do. But some rich guy's getting a tax cut. So, congratulations. So, unbelievable. I mean, again, this is what people voted for this. It's like, okay, all right, you wanted it. Exactly. The cruelty is the point. Oh man. Anyway. Unbelievable. But yeah, it's like every time they get into power, they cost me money. It's like I'm clearly not rich, so but no, unfortunately, look, the Democratic Party screwed up. The Republican Party is really screwed up, unfortunately. Dems have their problems, but MAGA, forget it. I mean, any case. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end shortly. I don't think I've got much more to talk about. And my hand is hurting me. I really do. I want to ice my hand. I think I was trying to cook today, and I think that didn't help. I also think maybe I'm going to have to take a day and not do a day or two and not do the exercises the doctor said, because it's clearly hurting a bit, which I'm not happy about. So I want to go put some ice on my hand and wrap it. So anyway, I will go take care of my hand. Thank you for the gift, Omar. Appreciate that. All right, guys, have a good night. I will see you all tomorrow. I'm back at 6 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. It's Canada Day? Oh, July 1st is Canada Day, isn't it? I forgot about that. Happy Canada Day. Woo, woo, woo. There we go. All right. Well, happy Canada Day to those who celebrate. He kept telling me to keep doing cold. I'm going to do cold also because it's still swollen a bit. I'm going to do cold again. Cold seems to do well. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Thank you. All right, Discord, we'll start with y'all. As always, Jeffrey and Amanda. See you guys. Boom. All right. All right. YouTube by YouTube.